One of these days we got to talk about those Vegas trips because I know people. I keep bringing that up, and people are like, "What's up? What's up with the Vegas trip? What's good with the Limitless weekend?"
Talk about Vegas because what happens is
2020 vision.
Oh, well, you can talk about what we did. We CARESNONE. I mean, we don't got to talk about everything. Some shit dude got to stay in Vegas. Like I said, I got like 5 kids or some shit. Like we can't talk about that on air.
Besides.
All right. CARESNONE Beto Podcast, episode 12. It's episode 12, Derek.
all right, we in there.
12 episodes of the CARESNONE Beto Podcast.
Yes.
I am your host, Chris CARESNONE, and I'm with my co-host, Derek Fisher. What's up, man?
Let's go, baby. What's good, team? Derek here.
So this was kind of this is a good podcast, and here's the reason why. Somebody asked me a couple episodes ago, but I never got to it, but it was a good one. It was something good that I wanted to talk about eventually. You was in town. I was like, perfect. I can get it out right now. Almost, to be honest, I was going to do you and Matt tonight, but I can't figure out the fucking Adobe Audition. I can't figure it out. I don't know enough about like this whole not videography. It was like just the whole musician part of the sound and mics and feedback and reverb. I don't know what's going on.
Takes time, man. That's cool.
So a buddy, a guy at work of mine, shout out to my boy D, who's also my management. He was like, you should go to Guitar Center.
Oh yeah, I used to love.
Yeah, I never even thought about it. That's such a great idea. Go in there and be like, hey, I bought this shit from the other one because I always feel bad about that. Like, are they supposed to help you?
These are people at the end of the day, and shit, if you ain't got shit to do, just help them out.
Right, right. That's the way I would feel about it. Yeah, but
it's cool. I mean, if they do, they do. If they don't, they don't.
Right, so just fuck it.
Right, but I mean,
but I could just be like, hey, yeah, man, I bought the so and so from the other one, and this is the one I'm close to, so I was coming to ask y'all a question just to feel better about myself. I feel like that would help me.
Go ahead.
So, and I'm gonna go in there and say, hey, how I got to set this up to set this up.
Right.
And hopefully they hook me up, man, because I'm telling you.
Use your resources.
Yeah, I had no idea. I didn't even think of that because I've been on YouTube, which I'm all about. But so as much as I'm about YouTube.
Yeah, go ahead. I like this too. I like what you're about to say.
I love YouTube.
I like what you're about to say.
A lot,
YouTube
actually.
University.
YouTube U. I've learned so much. But sometimes you can't, or if it's there, maybe you don't know how to search for the specific thing.
Yeah, sometimes I don't know I know what I want to say, but I don't know how to type it correctly to really get the result.
To get the
that
search.
I need. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I wonder, is there better ways to search?
Man, I think you just got to have the vocabulary sometimes.
You just got to know, the words to say.
I swear, sometimes the vocabulary is the only thing I'm like, fuck, if I could just translate the thought.
Right. Exactly what you want. Now, I remember, you used to be able to, press, put, plus signs in front of Google.
Yeah, I remember that.
I don't remember, the rules exactly.
I never really got into the rules of that shit, but yeah, I remember.
But remember, there was ways that you could, you could specifically get this word, Yeah. I wonder, do people still do that?
I doubt it. I want to see my mama do it.
Somebody got to do that shit. I bet you Jamie from the Joe Rogan. I bet you you ever watch that show? You got to watch the Joe Rogan podcast. This nigga, first of all, Joe Rogan's dope, and I talk about him 100 times. But there's a dude who does the Google part behind the scenes. His name's Jamie. And he Googles great. He always finds the information. 100%. It's crazy. Nice. It's like niggas at Google be like, hey, what you doing? You know what I'm saying?
You got me.
All right, so this is what I wanted to talk about. One of the followers on Instagram asked, what do you do to help improve yourself? What are the things that he was asking me, what do you do to become a better person? I think he worded it, what do you do to help yourself grow is what he said. And there was a couple of things that I wanted to talk about on air because they really helped me. Now, again, like we talked about the last episode, I do not believe that my ways are the only ways to do shit. What I am saying is these ways helped me.
For sure.
It might not help you. You know what I'm saying? It might not help you. It might not be for you. You might hate the idea. I'm just talking about the things that helped me go forward. So the first one, and it's going to sound crazy because niggas always look at me like I'm crazy when I bring this, is the cold showers. I take a cold shower every day for the last 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like ice cold.
Ice cold.
Ice cold.
3,000.
Whoo. You ever take an ice cold shower?
Nah, I'm good.
That's what I'm saying. But let me tell you why the cold showers work for me. So keep in mind, I know it sounds crazy. Like, I've been taking a warm shower my whole life. You know what I'm saying? Why would you take a warm shower unless you had to out of necessity? Like, why would you do that?
Cold shower.
Right. Why would you take a cold shower out of like just because when you can take a warm shower? That's the way I've always taken showers my whole life. So, and somebody, like, I read this like on YouTube or I saw this on YouTube. I'm like, wait a minute. Who the fuck would do that? And so I went on a little rabbit hole. And there's a lot of motherfuckers doing this. There's like a community of niggas who take cold showers. And then there was a TED Talk. You ever fuck with TED Talks?
Boy, you know my middle name?
That's right. To me, that gave it validation. I'm like,
that's one of my life goals is to do a TED Talk.
What would you do it on?
I'm still getting there. I wouldn't know you just yet.
What would, if TED Talk came to you right now, what would be the thing that you think you know the most about?
People,
like psychology,
or
maybe like exactly, because people's kind of broad, no?
No, kind of like I think it's a lot of psychology, but I don't know, man. It's like the psychology, culture, sociology, kind of that spectrum. I kind of get
history. I feel like you know your history pretty well.
Well, it's because of that. Like you just look at history and you just kind of see the patterns of people, and you kind of get into the psychology of people a lot easier when you look at throughout history rather than at the moment and trying to pinpoint one person at a time. If
you asked me, or somebody asked, what is De'Eric like? What is he about? Like somebody asked me that personally, I would say this motherfucker has
that life.
He'll fuck your ass up, nigga. No, I feel like you're a dude who genuinely gives a fuck about like your existence.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. I care that I exist. Like it means something to me that I
But
exist.
I think that could be if people might look at that and misconstrue it. I don't mean like because they could come off narcissistic or it could come off like a piece of shit. That's not what I mean. Even though you and I had a talk about narcissism, yeah, we'll talk about
that
in
was
a
a
second.
great talk.
That was a great talk. Yeah,
shit.
yeah, we'll talk about that. But what I mean by your existence is that the fact that there's other people in your existence too. So you're I'm existing. Mm-hmm. What the fuck is going on? And you try to figure it the fuck out by going to school, by traveling. But you just, and I know you like cities, right? Mm-hmm. You're really big into cities.
I'm kind of even developing more outside of that, but yeah, I love cities.
What do you mean, like outside of the city, or just like
just Earth, man? Like I've done so many cities, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of cool to. I think when I went to last year, I went to Seattle. Again, that was my second.
And we talked about your second time.
My second time, it was like.
We talked about when you went to. We were talking about when you didn't get to go to Bruce Lee's.
Yeah. I didn't get to go to his grave, but when I was there this time, we went into the state of Washington. You know what I mean? So we into the mountains and shit like that, and even what we saw was magnificent. But even going into that shit.
Yeah, you was like at Rainier, right? You were telling me.
I climbed Mount
Rainier. Yeah, remember we talked about that. You was like, it ain't for you.
Nah, it ain't for everybody.
Most niggas don't be out here climbing mountains.
Yeah, it was a sight to see. That shit was crazy. But what I'm saying is like that was like, but even the small towns I saw in the state of Washington, when you got a town of like 10,000 people, maybe 6,000 people, but they just surrounded by big ass glaciered mountains. Like the most beautiful, iconic scenes you could ever see. I had never seen anything. I'm like, bro, I see why.
And you get to see that every day, yeah, because it's beautiful.
But it was just like being like downtown or some shit. I don't know. It was crazy. It was dope.
Joe Rogan always says what's crazy about him. He says something about nature. I don't do a ton of nature. It's kind of a city boy. You know what I'm saying? I don't really. I've done it a couple times, probably more than most blacks, but definitely not. I'm not a nature person. Yeah. Don't think that I would be against it because I personally do feel something different about it's almost like a reset. But Rogan's always like, nothing's better than being outside. Mm-hmm. Like nothing.
I don't think so either.
You know, away from all the artificial lights and shit, like just being out. And it's like, and I kind of feel a little bit of that as much as I've gone. Mm-hmm. It feels good to be outside. Mm-hmm. And most of our vacation, a lot of people take vacations for like leisure and or at least from what in my existence, you take vacations to kind of just fuck around and do the touristy bullshit. We kind of talked about this too, and most people don't. At least from my my what?
It's like shaking.
Oh, and my bad. And most people that take vacations that I know don't go out and do the nature thing, like hunting or fucking,
Like even when we went to Seattle, when we went to that off that island, like 40 minutes off the coast and shit.
Yeah, we talked about that with the with those totem poles.
With the totem poles. Yeah. We talked about that last time.
But there's something about nature that's for real dope. But I wanted to get back to the cold showers, like why that helps me.
Yeah.
And I know it's ridiculous, because to me it's still kind of ridiculous. But let's talk about the obvious shit. And female, no, it's good for your hair. Cold water is good for your hair. That's a fact. It's also good for your skin. Like your skin lightens up a little bit. Probably one of the best physical things it does for me personally is it wakes you up, especially in the morning. And we just talked about that.
Oh, I knew that was what he was going to. This here's like
right,
Folger.
Right, I'm saying, right. And in the last podcast, I was telling you how if I could just get the fuck up and then hop in that cold shower, then I'm up. But it's like it's the 4 minutes between getting up and then going to the shower. But anyway, that cold shower getting your ass up, you gonna be up. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck who you is, what you doing, what kind of drugs you on. You hit a cold shower, ice cold, nigga.
What's cool to being cool?
That shit is vicious. I challenge you to do it for 2 days.
I'm cool, man.
Okay. So anyway, so then you up, right? But here's the best part about it to me. It puts me in a very uncomfortable situation every day. Every day it's uncomfortable. And it sucks. It's not fun. And I do that on purpose. Like I said, I'm not doing it out of necessity. I'm doing it because I choose to. And it gives me like this discipline to deal with things that are uncomfortable, like kind of mentally. Because like if I got to talk to my boss or I got to talk to some girl or I got to talk to my homie about something, it can't be more uncomfortable than that fucking cold ass shower. That's brutal. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's what I personally got from it. It life changing. Now again, to even be able to try it is tough because most people won't even fathom the idea because it's ridiculous. I know that. But I'm telling you, there's something about it. And the few people that I have gotten to try it were like, yes, sir, life-changing. That's all I'm saying.
So you got a full bar of soap just going
yeah, full bar and just, you be that motherfucker. I'm telling you, it's never fun.
You got to describe it to the people if you go suggest it.
No, you take a cold shower, but instead of with hot water, use cold. How I got to explain that? Like, it's gonna be.
How long is it the same temperature?
As long as you wash your ass. However long it take you to wash your ass in cold water, that's how long it take. It take me about 3 minutes. Right. I be that motherfucker. Yeah, I ain't never seen so much lather, nigga. Just lather. But you be all kind of lather though, 3.5 minutes.
I'm trying to tell you.
Another thing, you probably save a few dollars on water too, but that's just an extra bonus sometimes. Yeah, but cold showers, man. I'm telling you, cold showers. So if anybody out here, hit me up in the DMs and tell me if you willing to even try it. And then if you do try it, let me know how you feel. Because I'm telling you, I believe it'll change your life.
Nice.
There's another one. This one's a little bit more personal.
Okay. That sounded very personal too. I mean, that was a whole last shower.
This is a little bit more personal. All right. This is going to sound even crazier than the cold showers. No FAP. Do you know what that means?
FAP?
No FAP.
I know what FAP is.
Okay. So obviously
FAP City, you know.
Okay, so you would obviously know what no FAP is.
Yeah, I know. No FAP.
Don't. That's not what they saying.
They know better. No, they don't say that.
Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute. That song is that's what I'm saying. Wait. Come on. Well, no, because people might not know about that song, so we gotta let them know. What are they actually saying in that song?
No flex zone.
No flex zone. Yeah, but not no fab. I'm a little high and drunk. No, but so no fap means to restrain, like semen retention. Mm-hmm. So not beating your meat, no jolly whacker. Mm-hmm. Keep that shit in your pants. Now, this is tough. This is brutal. Because I know that's been a thing that I have done since I knew that it was a thing. Mm-hmm. Since some of my homies, I was like, what the fuck is it? He's like, man, you got to get on. And I'm like, what? And then I was at the crib one day. Must have been, I don't know,
You know how old you were. Come
No,
on.
I'm trying to think. 14,
14?
something like that. I don't know exactly, but something around those years.
It's around that time.
And I was like, you know what I'm saying? And then it's been like the best shit you could do, right? Since for 30-something years or some crazy shit, right? And it's like everybody, and then women, everyone's doing that, right? Everybody, the whole planet. Yeah. And it's funny, no one talks. Why is it taboo? When everybody does it, but it's taboo as fuck.
It may not be as taboo as we think. It's just in our world. I don't know. Our world is weird because it's like sexuality is so open seemingly, but how is that a part of sexuality? But it's like maybe it's sexuality with other people. That's the whole deal. That's kind of, it's like we want sexuality with other people, but sexuality with yourself or sex.
Right. That's what I'm saying. And I feel like people don't.
But that's a very here thing. So I don't know.
Like, you talking about like America?
Yeah. We got this kind of glitz and glamour thing about like I can pull any motherfucker I want type of shit. And, it's kind of a sell to it. So it's like if you are just taking care of yourself with it, then you ain't got the sauce, pretty much. That whole stigma and shit.
But the thing is, everyone does it, though.
Yeah, I know.
I bet you Drake does it.
Yeah, everybody.
Which is crazy, because you would think.
Yeah, of course.
That's why I don't think it has anything to do with, like, getting women necessarily. Or, like.
What I'm saying is the stigma.
No, I'm not saying you.
Talking about it.
Yeah, right. Because that was what we're really trying to get to. How come people don't want to talk about it? And I don't know. Because it's definitely one of those things that people don't talk about. That's what I'm saying, because you're more open minded. You open about the shit. That's why you're great for this. And so am I. Yeah. But not everyone comfortable talking about that.
Oh, yeah. It's whatever. I mean, but that's the thing that I said. Like, it's a people thing. It's a pattern thing. I'm not going to be all. If I notice a pattern, that's kind of how I think about shit historically. If I see that everybody's going to do this shit, I'm not going to be all like, it's a natural thing. It has to be natural if everybody does it. So that kind of leads.
I know, but why do you think so many people, that's weird to them to bring that up, especially in public? Well, it's kind of like taking a shit. Like, real talk. Like, people kind of don't talk about that.
Thing, bro.
Chastity? What does that mean?
Chastity, I mean, just chastising your sexuality, just not being able to have a sexuality, not being able to express it. So this shit can go into religion, and most likely that's where it stems from. This whole, the whole non-sexual, as far as like being with yourself, pleasuring yourself and shit. So it can go so many ways, but it's a lot of cultural shit. It's a lot of social shit that goes into it. It's not something that's it is something that's natural, so it has to be something that we created to create the problem.
Yeah, like, so somebody at some point.
Not somebody, some system.
Yeah, but okay, so like, so what started, like, was it somebody? It could have been like one person that started that system. So how does that system start? Like, who was the first person to be like? I
don't think it's a person. It's never a person.
Somebody had to be the first. This is like physically, somebody had to be the first person to think that masturbating was bad. Like that's literally something. Somebody had to be the first person to do that.
I think.
Do you agree with that statement?
No, I can't agree with that statement, Chris.
So there wasn't one person.
No, you can't. But stop. You can't slow it down. You can't. It doesn't mean. I'm sorry. I don't want to. I'm sorry.
No, I really believe in my heart that if all human beings do that, or overwhelming majority, for the beginning of time, one person had to be the first person to try it. Right? Does that not make sense to you?
It seems like
the first person to have sex. Like, somebody had to have sex first.
That's not. I don't look at shit that way.
Oh, you don't look at it that way, but like scientifically, somebody had to be the first person to say, maybe this is bad.
Scientifically, that's not true.
You don't think that is like
I can't really explain it though. That's what I'm saying.
Well, explain it then.
That's what I'm saying. Words are so terrible. I can't explain it. That's why I'm trying to just.
So you're telling me that you really don't.
That's why I say I want to let you just talk, because words.
Well, I know I've already talked, and I'm saying it means to me it's very extremely logical. I can't see how you don't see what I'm saying.
Okay, but go ahead.
That one person, we can't probably we'll never be able to pinpoint that specific person, but someone was like, wait a minute, this might be bad to do this.
I don't think one person can make that decision, and then that shit can trickle down.
No, like one person can have that just thought.
Okay, I got you. Okay.
Right?
Yes. Go ahead.
You don't believe that one person can have that thought? Like,
one person can, but I don't believe that's how shit. I don't believe that's how. It's more of a. We are animalistic at our nature, and as ourselves, we are super much so of a group. We don't do anything individual. No individual has a thought. Everything is a collective thought. everything we do is collective. So I don't think that one person thought of something and the shit just came about. It's just like collective group, and it's a harder concept that I'm trying to explain, but
yeah, because what you're saying to me literally makes no sense, and let me tell you why. Mm-hmm. So let's say there was a tribe in the beginning of time, cavemen. We barely can communicate, but we know enough. Just, someone had to do something bad out of the 15 people who were in the first 15 people, because at one point there was 15 people, right? Because we all multiplied. Would you agree with this statement? So, or did we all just at one time?
No.
We come from one cell, yes or no?
Evolution is a weird process, and I'm not saying that I know everything and I get everything about it. That's all I'm saying.
People tend to multiply, though, no?
Yeah, for sure.
Which means that multiplying would mean out, which means the beginning would.
I get it.
I feel like why are you getting frustrated?
Because I'm trying to
talk to me.
Because it's a subject that I can't explain really because I'll get too technical and shit with it.
No, talk. That's why we on this. Get technical then.
I don't want to get that far with.
But you do see why you seem frustrated. I feel like you're like upset at me.
I'm not upset, Chris. Just go.
Well, why aren't you talk? Why you talk? This is where we're having a conversation.
Please,
I feel like you're frustrated.
Yeah, I'm trying to because I want you to just lead this real quick. Hold on.
But like you're not even talking to the mic.
I got you, bro. Please go.
So then bring up a topic then.
No. All right. I'm sorry, y'all.
Yeah, I feel like you just got frustrated over me. All right. But going back to the nofap, having the discipline to not do that has changed my life beyond belief. Because that's a thing that's been embedded in me since I knew how to do it. Mm-hmm. Since the first time I masturbated and I felt something, I've been doing that religiously almost, like most men, like most women too. Like everybody does that.
Yeah.
And then to restrain from it just for the art of disciplining yourself to do something and if you can do that, and the longer you do that, I'm telling you, that's a game changer. That's a game changer, especially for men. I can't speak for women, but I can speak for a guy because I didn't do it literally for like 8 months, which was crazy. I don't know if we talked about this, but I've done it since then a couple of times, but it's still not nearly what I used to. And just restraining from it has definitely helped me grow as far as discipline. And we talked about the last episode, I have a lot more discipline. Yeah, I'm so many levels not where I need to be, but I am probably further than
work on it though.
I do work on it. But it's a tough one. As a buddy of mine from work, I think he was listening to our last episode, and he said, let's have a heart to heart about his demons and our demons together, And demons, man, and we all got them. There ain't nobody excluded from that shit. Everyone's got something. Everybody's got something. Nobody has nothing. No one's just walking around just like everyone's got whatever they dealing with. And it might be different for you, me, but somebody's dealing with something. And my shit and his shit, the nofap can help you for fellas. Again, I'm talking to the guys. It could change your life. Mm-hmm. It's that serious.
What do you mean change your life?
Like discipline.
Discipline-wise?
Discipline-wise. And I believe that the discipline is what gets shit done. We were just talking, like, even like the discipline to get up. Like, just the discipline to get up. Gotcha. Even if you just, let's say you got 2 more hours to sleep. I know you don't have to talking to myself. Yeah, you don't have to go to work till whenever time. And you're up a couple hours early. But do you have the discipline to get your ass up and take care of whatever the fuck you got to take care of? And like you said, I keep working on it. And I keep working on it. And I keep working on that. And I feel like I'm like, fuck. There's so many levels. There's so many levels of that. So many levels of that. And then you'll beat one thing and you'll be like, all right, boom. And then life starts picking up. But then you realize, to really go further, you got to do another layer. Mm-hmm. And then you're like, and you just keep going after that layer. And then you hit it, and then, there's another layer. And it feels like it just keeps going. It just keeps going, at least from where my mindset was,
sure, For sure.
And nofap got me there. Like, it was like on crack because of the discipline.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, would you say most men do that multiple times a week?
Yeah.
Right? Most.
Yeah.
And women probably, do you think women are equal? Do you think they do more or equal?
I think women and men, are very equal in most things.
As far as how much they do that?
In most things in life.
Not strength.
And most things in life, most.
All right. But not strength, though.
Most.
We got that. We got
Most.
them on strength.
Most.
You do agree we
Very,
got them on
very,
strength?
very proud animal. Ooh, very proud animal. He's bragging over being stronger than a woman.
Absolutely. I'm fucking a piece of shit, I guess. No, but it's not about bragging. I'm telling you right now, we are not equal when it comes to strength.
That's fine, but I'm not saying that. So I'm just saying most things we're very equal.
And then what else? I feel like, but I don't think that we equal on a lot of things, but I do think that we're equally as important. That's kind of what my take on it.
Explain that if you want to elaborate.
Like, for instance, there's some things that I cannot do that a woman can. Like, I will never be nearly as naturally good as nurturing a baby as she can. Mm-hmm. Naturally. Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm not saying there's some outliers. There's some probably phenomenal fathers.
Absolutely.
But at the end of the day, a woman is literally bred, like, not bred, but she is like, that's what she is. Mm-hmm. She's a mother, and she can nurture. And I believe that men can't do that nearly as good as a woman can.
Okay. So
we are not equal in that sense. Okay. They are better than us. And then I feel like I'm not saying it against you. I'm just talking.
Bro,
maybe it's just your.
I'm black. I'm expressing.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not coming like when right. I'm just being expressive, bro. That's it.
All right. I don't be getting no sad at me. All right. I feel like
we talk all the time.
That's what I'm saying. I'm thinking you're upset. But anyways. And then another thing, like on the flip side, the strength.
Yeah.
We are not equal to women when it comes to strength.
Right, of course. And
then another thing is we can't feed a baby like they can.
Okay.
So I don't think and those are some of the major things about being human. We are not equal.
Okay.
But I do believe we are super equally as important. I believe that like 100%. Like this does not work without them, and this don't work without us.
Good.
You know, and I talk to women a lot, and a lot of women say things like, and they kind of agree with me. And like a lot of women, like for instance, my homegirl Amber, she is a boss. Like like for real, like she bust her ass in this certain field, bust her way to the top, right? And then she became literally a boss, and she was running shit and running the whole locations of stores, and she didn't like it. She was like, I don't really want to do this. Naturally, she'd rather do the mom thing, but she's really good at being a boss. Mm-hmm. But she just there was something inside of her, at least that's what I gathered, that she was not satisfied.
Okay.
So it when she told me that, to me, it was a way of saying, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And again, this is outlier. I'm speaking very general.
I like it.
I'm speaking very general.
Like
I feel like there's some things that, and I know that's changing, like with the Dwayne Wade thing. How do you feel? Did you hear about that news today?
What's happening?
So Dwayne Wade's son is now officially going by his daughter. Mm-hmm. So he's openly changed his gender.
Right.
Like changed his name. I think it's Zion to Ziri or something like that. I'm probably fucking it up. And then the internet was just like, you know how it is. I personally don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And how do you feel about that?
I love it.
Right? Like I just don't I don't care.
I love it because it's it's like the social shit is just being challenged. And that's the thing. Like I always try to separate myself from like there's the social shit that we deal with all this shit, because technically we created gender. Like there's sex and whatnot, but gender is very fluid. You can that can be a whole nother subject. You know what I mean? But
maybe I'm stupid. Is sex not gender?
Well, gender. That's why you have transgender. You have these different genders. Like it's so many different ways in which you can. Gender is not something sex is something that's biological. I should say that.
Okay, so there is a X and Y chromosome. You agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, no, because I'm telling you, I think that's an argument by some people.
No, that's biology.
Right. So you saying that's the biology part of it?
Yes.
Because so what's the other part that's not biology? Because this person can identify as a man, but they have a female. Identity. Yeah. So who gives a fuck with who? Like you
that's
identify.
That's something we socially give a fuck about, not the body.
Yeah, because I really don't give a fuck. But why am I bogus? If you, not you specifically, let's say you identified as a woman. Yeah. How come I'm bogus if I'm like, okay, you can identify as a woman, but I'm telling you, I'm looking at you and you are a man. Why would that be fucked up?
No, it's because we live in a social society and you have to respect people socially. That's why.
But am I wrong in saying okay? If somebody's asking me,
if you are in this social society, and you do that, then there are consequences to it.
Right.
Because you're in this, we ain't just out here, and if you were just out here, not in this specific society where that's not kosher. That's why when you go somewhere else, that's cool. You can say that shit. That's why when different decades happen, you can say it's cool. It's cooler to say no homo versus not saying the type of shit. This shit changes. It's so social.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not something
we can say things back then that we can't even remotely say now.
Exactly.
Like even the no homo thing is like tough to say.
It's
right.
Nuts.
But like literally, how many years ago when niggas were saying that?
That
Right. That was a thing.
That would trip me out. That would really trip me out.
And here's the crazy part. Same thing with like the word, like the N word, like nigga.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, I have friends, very, very, very close friends who are not black that say nigga. Mm-hmm. And it personally, again, it's just me. I know the different theories, and it don't bother me because I can tell where it's coming from.
Right.
But I know that they wouldn't be able to say that socially places. You know what I'm saying? That's fucked up.
Well, that's a social thing. It's all social. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. I think that's why I'm able to kind of live so in a simple mindset, I guess, because I understand that it's a lot of social shit that I could be heated about. I could be heated about anybody saying the word nigga. I could be, but on some real animalistic shit, that's not going to, like...
Right, like, who gives a fuck, right?
It's a word that most niggas in the entire world don't even know.
Right.
If you think about it, we're just very specific to this shit here. But, like, it's a word that's going to die. It's a word that's going to be X'd out anyway. Like, motherfuckers not going to be using this shit because it's going to be some other shit anyway. So, it's like, I can't really live in that world too hard. Now, I won't be disrespected because I do live in this social world and I do see that. It's about balancing that. It's about living in your natural state, but balancing this social world and shit and kind of picking and choosing what you really want to care about.
Yeah, I agree with you because I'm telling you,
it's a lot of shit that they want you to care about and shit. But it's just like, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of how you get your mind clear.
Right.
That's kind of what helps me. I think if we could draw back, I think you said something that's kind of inspiring.
Like what helps you grow?
What helps you grow? For myself, if I can answer that.
Yeah, absolutely.
What helps me grow is just to kind of keep myself in that animalistic mindset. You know what I mean? Where I'm just like, it's just about is my biology taken care of? Is my mental taken care of? You know what I mean? And in everything else, I get that there's a social world out here, but I can pick and choose where I want to fuck with me or not. You know what I'm saying? So that's why when I say I love traveling, that's what I want to fuck with. I want to fuck with that realm. If I want to fuck with money, then I'll fuck with that realm. If I want to fuck with, lavish life or some shit, then I would want to fuck with that realm. But I can pick and choose and shit. But you got to be more aware of your whole just self and making sure this is good. You know what I mean? And kind of, it's a guard, but it's like a controlled knowing yourself guard, like knowing what you really fuck with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because I actually agree with you 1,000,000%. I just think that it's harder. It's taking me layers to get to that. Mm-hmm. For whatever reason, whether it was the way I was raised, whether it was my environment, and some people probably worse. I posted something today on my Instagram stories. Gary Vee held up what looked like a receipt. And then, but if you read the receipt, it said, "Stop buying shit to impress people you don't even like." And it was like, I think Will Smith said some shit like that back in the day. And I'm telling you, I was so materialistic, bro.
I know when I met you, you used to.
It was bad. The whole and I'm getting off that. And I think I'm the furthest I've ever been from that because I just don't care about this shit anymore. But there's still moments where I'm like, oh, that'd be dope to have. But then I catch myself, why do you feel that way? And then my first thought is, you're just trying to keep up with the Joneses. That's just me being real.
Man, go ahead. I like this.
And I don't even know where it came from. I've done a little bit of research on it about the black culture in general does that as a whole. Like we're really big on that. Oh yeah. And we're like, that's what we always we stun. That was like a whole thing. It was like a hip hop thing. Remember for a hot minute. And I wonder where they came from. And it's almost like that's our way as a black culture, but not even just black culture, just the culture in general. It's not just black culture, I don't think. But who got the dopest this? Who got the baddest that? Mm-hmm. And it feels like motherfuckers are aiming for that, but it ain't really making you happy.
Yeah.
So the things, every time I got some shit I thought would make me happy, I don't really feel like it made me happy. But the things that really make me personally happy don't cost a dime. Mm-hmm. You know, going for a run. After that run, like after the shitty part of the run, then I feel happy. Like right after, like when I'm dying, you know what I'm saying? I'm a big dude, you know, so running a mile is not the easiest thing. And I've always hated it. But right when I'm done, there's like this euphoric, and then like the endorphins start kicking, and that feels happy. Mm-hmm. But when I buy that pair of J's, and let me say this, it lasts longer. But then when I buy that pair of J's, which I've done, I even bought fake Jordans and shit just to ball out on people. Yeah. And that's another thing. I used to be worried about, dude, I bought I bought a lot of fake shit.
From Hustle Man?
No, not from the Hustle Man. From this fucking, here's the crazy part. If you like Jordans, stop doing it. Don't waste your money. Now I'm telling you, you can get some authentic replicas that are like, that even the Jordan heads wouldn't even be able, that's how ridiculous it is. So it's like, why pay the premium just because people know that it's legit when if no one could actually tell the difference? Why do we get mad about that as a people?
They got us, man. They got us.
That's what I'm saying. They got us vicious, right? And here's another thing. I got a story to prove how ridiculous a lot of us are, especially me. I'm gonna talk for myself. So I'm in the Bahamas with Steve. Shout out to Steve for the trip to the shout out to Steve to the trip to the Bahamas. And I talked about the Bahama Eyes with Matt on the other show.
Got you.
So we're walking up to the Hotel Atlantis. You ever been to the Bahamas?
I have not. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the Bahamas is super like the weather. The weather there is so dope.
My mom and my sister went though.
Oh,
to Atlantis, by the way. Which
super. Yeah, that's like the hype. That's the spot, right? You ever heard of the term Bahama breeze?
Maybe.
Like it's something about the weather, like, or how about just the Caribbean weather? That whole God.
You ever heard of something called the Caribbean weather?
Oh no, I'm saying that shit is. I think I know what they mean by paradise.
Hey, that sounds like an Old Spice commercial.
Yeah.
You ever heard of some shit called?
But the weather though, it's like
Caribbean
like when you wearing like a white linen and you know how it like it's doing this. You know what I mean? And like the sun just going down. And
all the time.
Right. It's all. So why is how the sun always going down? It's 1 p.m. The sun going down. Like, that's fucked up. No, but
perfect.
So I'm walking up to the hotel with the fellas. I'm drunk. It's probably like 10 a.m. in the morning. I'm trashed. Cares none. Right? So I look to the right, to the street, and I see my car. Now, I drive an Infinity.
And beyond.
I drive an Infinity. Used as fuck. Who gives a fuck? But the name has a little bit of weight. It better have a little bit of weight because I paid a fucking premium for it in America. This is important to the story.
Good.
In the Bahamas, so I look to the right, and I'm like, oh shit, my car's pulling up. Right? I know you know what your car looked like. With the car, when you were driving, if it's a different color, would you notice? Okay, that's my car, but it's a different color.
Every time
you would be like, oh, that's my car.
Dude, that's my car.
Tell me how come it pulled up. I'm like, oh shit, my car, and it was a Nissan emblem. Right? Mm-hmm. Now, if you know anything about cars, Nissan owns Infinity, right? That's a fact. So it makes sense why they would do that, but here's what's important about the story. Why was I so heated when I saw the emblem didn't say Infinity, but it said Nissan, although it was the same car? Mm-hmm. Why was I like heated at the moment? Because I was kind of pissed off for like 5 minutes. What the fuck? I paid because at the time my mindset was you paying a premium for the emblem. Because to be honest, when I was shopping for that car, there was a Nissan that I could have bought for half the price. It wasn't as fucking flashy as the one I had at the time, but it was a nice car that would have got me around. But I didn't choose that one because I wanted to be flashy with this one.
Yeah.
But it's the same shit, technically. Not those specific cars, but the brand. But then I saw my exact car. I know what the Infinity M35 looks like because I drive it every goddamn day. But then it said in Nissan, and I was heated I was like heated in life. And in hindsight, looking back at that, that's how brainwashed we are. That's ridiculous. Yeah, that's really ridiculous. Like logically speaking, I'm like, whoa. And when I saw that shit, like to myself, That changed everything.
That's because branding works, man. This shit works.
This
shit is hard. Like this shit. How do we create that? You know what I mean? Like you literally were willing to your whole life could have been just really puff and puff about shit.
Right.
Just because of an emblem.
Because of a fucking
emblem.
Because of image. Like the branding. Right. The branding.
The branding of it.
Because of what it means. And no one even there. Like no one's there.
But what does it mean though?
It don't mean.
What did it mean for you at that moment? Like what
part mean?
Excuse me. What did your car mean for you? That emblem, I should say. Not even the car necessarily.
Okay, so what did having an infinity mean to me at the time?
Yeah. What did that?
Infinity, and I'm being brutally honest.
Please.
And you know me, that's how I get down. CARESNONE, be dope. I thought I'm driving an infinity. That's a way to show that I'm working on, like I'm making moves. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? This is the truth, which is to me now absolutely absurd. But at the time, that was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm keeping up with the job. I got that new shit. I got some new shit, especially because I was driving around in some bullshit before. I didn't even have a car. You know what I'm saying? And I go, all of a sudden, damn, he rolling around in this. This is what I'm thinking. No one even cares about that probably.
Right.
But this is what I'm thinking.
Right.
And I thought that I was doing it. And 10 or 5 years later, how long, 4 years now, it's like, that's just personally the wrong mindset. Because one, I just don't even care about that same car no more. One that is old still gets me around. Perfect, no problems. Now, I'll give you this. I will say this. They do last. The Infinities last. But so it's a Nissan. So get a Nissan because those will last too. It's the same parts. It's literally the same shit. Mm-hmm. So the brand, as far as lasting, if you bought an Infinity purely because you heard me say that it lasts well, then buy one, especially if you can afford it. But don't buy it because you think the name means something, and then you spending money that you can't afford. That's what made it worse. If I could afford it, all right, whatever, I can afford it. I have something nice. I work hard for my shit, but I couldn't afford it.
Right.
I shouldn't have been spending $450 on a car.
Why did you do it?
Trying to keep up with the Joneses.
Why? At the time, like why?
I really think that it was my way of proving that I'm making moves. You know, like, yeah, I ain't that. But maybe that's actually kind of a great question because I'm trying to answer it on the fly.
Absolutely. Take your time with it.
But maybe it was like trying to prove to myself, maybe, and I'm thinking that the way to prove that you're doing something is by showing what you got and the possessions. And what's crazy is today, that's to me is so far from the truth. You know what I'm saying? Like, for instance. Me and the other fellas, me, Mike, Mark, and Rob, there was a vacation being planned. Now, you remember we used to do that Vegas shit.
Yeah.
And we did it stupid. Based on what we're talking about, we did it with that mindset, yes or no? All that shit was limitless.
I will say, I gotta look, I ain't gotta straight in it, but I will cheer you to that. I will say, I'll put this on straight here. I was not even supposed to go to Vegas. You remember?
Yeah, you weren't gonna go at first.
You made me go. You literally made me go to Vegas.
Thank
you for that.
Because it was cool.
I'd never done. I don't think I can do Vegas bigger than we did.
Right, and it was a good time. Those limitless trips.
I don't even need to go to Vegas anymore, honestly.
Because you'll never enjoy it the same.
And I would never do it like every day. So
and then we kind of feel the same way.
Yeah.
But the reason I brought up the Vegas trips is. One of these days we got to talk about those Vegas trips because I know people. I keep bringing that up and people are like, "What's up with the Vegas trip? What's good with limitless weekend?"
Can you talk about Vegas? Because what happens in Vegas?
Oh well, you can talk about what we did. CARESNONE. I mean, we don't got to talk about everything. Some shit do got to stay in Vegas. I got like 5 kids and some shit. Like we can't talk about that on air.
Right, you right.
All right. That was almost a fucking disaster. That was almost really bad. I might put some clips of that shit on there. That shit was horrible. See, I can see that's what I'm saying. That's how you know we still young at this shit. Let me tell y'all what happened. Literally put my foot down, everything stopped. Life stopped, my heart stopped. Did your heart stop? My heart stopped. We back though. We back. We was talking. What was we talking about? We was talking about the Vegas trips.
Yeah.
And how? Okay, so yeah. So the fellas brought up, let's have a, we're gonna have a vacation. And then Steve was like, how y'all feel about Vegas, New York, or Nashville. Those are the three
You've
options.
done all three, right?
And I've done all three multiple times. Mm-hmm. And all of us very naturally picked Nashville and not Vegas.
The most settled city.
Now, for what it's worth, I don't want to lie. They do call Nashville Little Vegas.
Love Vegas.
They do. Hey, Google. Hey, what is Little Vegas?
Sorry, I don't have any information about that.
All right, never mind. Maybe I'm lying. Maybe that's some bullshit. I just made it up. Shit. I literally thought they called that shit Little Vegas. Maybe I'm lying. I swear to God, no, Nashville's dope. But my point is that we, as a crew, we just don't give a fuck about that. Because the whole limitless trips, you know what? Let's tell people. We got a little time. Let's tell people what the limitless trip is about.
Let's talk about limitless.
All right, let me ask you personally.
Yeah.
What would you describe limitless as? The limitless Vegas weekend.
God damn, Chris. I mean, limitless. I would describe it as
You
limitless.
would say it was limitless?
No, it was pretty cool, man. It was
You want a little?
absolutely. Do what you do, baby.
I know you fuck with the makers. What you fuck with the makers?
Yeah. But no, limitless was excellent. It was well organized. The ambiance was great. It's like the Hugh Hefner Villa off the strip though. It was crazy because as I was coming into, first of all, flying into Vegas is always the weirdest shit of all time.
What you mean?
Because you see nothing but mountains and desert for like an hour or two.
And then out of
you see
nowhere,
a fucking city.
Right.
Like, who the fuck like I claim this land? But why?
Yeah, like what made it that spot?
I don't. That's what it's just the weirdest shit to me. But anyway, so it's just the setup of the whole thing the ambiance was just wonderful, and like just every part, the service. I mean, I fuck my nigga Soldier Boy. That's the whole reason I even went.
Yeah, so let's tell them what the okay. Let me tell how the story started. Let me tell you how the Vegas trips started.
Yeah,
because this is kind of a great story. Me and a couple of the fellas did our first Vegas trip at like 22. I don't even know what year. It's like 10, 12, 15 years ago. We went to our first Vegas trip. It's just the fellas. I think we stayed at the Circus, we stayed at the Stratosphere.
I stayed at the Stratosphere.
Yeah, we stayed at the Stratosphere.
22 years old.
Yeah, right. So because it was like it's a little off. It's on the strip, but it's towards the end.
It's out there.
And you save a couple $, and you get to be on the strip.
Right.
That's like the whole, you know.
That's the whole point. That's your first Vegas.
Right. That's like your first, you ain't got no money. You 22, you broke out here. I'm 36, I'm broke.
Fresh off graduation.
Right.
That was my graduation trip present.
Oh, they paid for it?
My mama just gave me and one of my homies to Vegas.
That's dope.
Yeah,
so dope.
I love you, mommy.
So dope. So we went to this Vegas trip, and we had a great time. You know, we took pictures. You know, I'm a social media fool, so I was putting the pictures up, whatever. And the people was like, damn, y'all having a good time. All right. And so we was. That's all it was. It means nothing. A lot of people have a good time on vacation. What does that mean? Nothing. Then we decided as a team, like the 3 or 4 core of us, to do it every year going forward. We're like, we're gonna come back here every year because it's too much fun. Mm-hmm. And then we did it for like 2 or 3 years, and it was awesome. And then one of our good buddies came, you know, he started doing better in life, like financially, right? And then he was like, hey, we about to get a villa at the Palms. And I'm like, what? I'm thinking, you know, he was like, it was a 1-story villa at the Palms Casino Hotel and Resort.
That's the one, yeah. Okay.
But it was the 1 story. So, and it was still vicious. You walk in, and then they have this infinity pool, y'all. If y'all have never been, YouTube this shit.
Yes, that's the one.
Well, let me tell the story because this story gets different. The one you see is different.
Go ahead.
So you walk into the 1-story Sky Villa. It's like way at the top, but it's the bottom one. It's the bottom one at the top. You walk in, and it's just like, and it's a hotel room, mind you. We all know hotels. You walk to a hotel room, you see 2 beds, you see the TV, you got the bathroom right here. It's the same shit every time, right?
This ain't that.
No. So we all walk in like, the fuck? And we all looking around doing all this crazy shit. There was that, man. So then they have an infinity. Now, mind you, like you just said, the Palms is off the strip. Yeah. Right? It's not on the strip, which is kind of like a lot of people would not like it because of that.
Right. And that's
right. Yeah, but what they offer is the views. Man, right? So
that's what you don't think about.
You don't think about that, right? That people don't think about that. Yeah. So you go here and they have an infinity pool. You know, infinity pool means you can't see You just see water and then
Yeah.
whatever's out there, and you see literally the entire strip of Las Vegas.
Oh,
Like
nasty.
from the left to the right, you see the last color building, and you see the whole thing from the pool
From the-
in your room, right? And we're like, what? And Steve's like, yeah, nigga, we doing it, right? And we put that on social media, and niggas was like, what you doing, right? And I'm like, all right, yeah, you know, out here, Steve, you know, we doing it. And then we all got into it, and so we all just said, hey, let's do it bigger. And then Steve was like, hey, we got the Hugh Hefner Villa this year. And we're like, what the fuck does that even mean? He goes, you remember the one with that show with the Playmates? What was that show with the Playmates? Like the Girls Next Door or some shit like that. And it was like, hey, Google, what was the Girls Next Door show?
The Girls Next Door is a television series that aired from 2005 to 2010 and starred Kendra Wilkinson, Holly Madison,
Yeah.
and Bridget Marquardt.
With his,
his Playmates, right?
Yeah.
And Steve's like, hey, we got that room.
Yeah.
And we're like, what? Like, now, mind you, the reason he got the room for such a steal, I don't even know if he wants to tell us, but CARESNONE. We had been going there all these years to the Palm for a lot of those years, and he gathered some relationships with the people and figured out, and he was gambling a little bit, and so they was like, you know how they want you when you spend money, they want you to come back.
Right. Once you
So,
built that
and because we
relationship.
were coming, right, and we were coming every single year.
See all those Vegas guys.
We was those niggas. So they was like, hey, we can get you a deal on this come up.
Yeah.
Right?
They gotta sell it.
And he had already got one of the big dogs, and
Right.
we already did the one story.
So they gonna offer
So
you.
this is the one you went to.
Okay. Gotcha.
And you went in, and then there's an elevator in the room. So it's the same thing, but there's two stories.
Yeah.
And we did that one time, and it was great. And then everyone was like, we gotta come next time. So then we got the bright idea, you know what? Let's get everybody to come. Right? We got it to the point where 150 people paid us $1,000 or $1,500, I forgot the number, $100 to spend the weekend with us. And that included the room. That included all you can drink in the villa.
Yeah.
That included
And we had liquor.
right. You remember that?
Oh my
Remember we were setting that bitch up.
It's,
How
yeah,
much
we was
how much
setting it up.
liquor would you say was in that
It
room?
was so nuts. It was crazy because I remember I don't even know how much. It was like at least a vault worth.
Yeah, it was definitely a fault word.
But I remember I had this. Well, I might be jumping the gun, but I had this girl and we were all in that little hot tub area.
Okay,
I met
yeah.
This little chicken with
Right.
And I remember I went back to because it was our shit.
Right.
So I went there was a bar set up and whatnot, and I went behind the bar what you want to drink?
Yeah.
Like, I could go back. I'm like,
Yeah, this is our shit. That's what made the shit cold.
And we were so comfortable and cool.
Right.
Like, oh shit.
Right. So that was what we were kind of selling. It was like, if you spend, and mind you, it's Vegas, but if you spend this amount of money, which is kind of a lot of money, $1,000, $1,500 for a Vegas trip,
Hey, but for Vegas,
but it was all you could eat. No, excuse me, not all you can eat, but we offered 2 big meals. One was the Sunday during the day for football, and we catered that.
Right.
And then there was Hooters
Yeah, I remember
at the
that.
pool party. In the pool party, we had, I want to say like 7, 8, 9 cabanas.
Yeah.
All you could drink at the pool.
Yep.
Justin Bieber was in the house.
Mhm.
Rich homie Quan was in the
Yeah.
house. Remember?
Yeah.
And then it was like the whole fucking place knew about Limitless Weekend. We all had these wristbands. Right, the wristbands.
Hey, that shit was
And this
cool.
is true. You can go to Limitless 70 at Limitless 702 to see the pictures.
That's funny.
Chris Duhan came. Some nigga.
Oh, Chris Duhan.
Yeah, Chris Duhan was
Hey,
there.
that was
Yeah.
our homie that weekend.
That's what I'm
was
saying. He was
our
dope.
homie.
Super
Like,
dope.
One of the people.
He was super dope. He was fucked up too. He probably get chubby. Hey, take your ass. I know he probably had a game or something. Hey, you should. He was fucked
I'll
up.
say this: Limitless was so limitless. There was niggas showing up. We call a nigga, and he'd be in another state and shit.
Which-
Out of nowhere.
Oh no, was that Limitless?
Yes,
Yeah, I'm not gonna say his name because
Right.
that's fucked up.
but it was limitless.
We had a nigga come. This is fucked up. Actually, it's actually not a cool story, but I'm gonna say it anyway. CARESNONE. We had a nigga that was so turned.
Oh my god.
He was so turned for like Friday, Saturday night. We're like, hey, where this nigga at? And nobody could find him. We like, this nigga dead? Like, where this nigga at? Right? So we going around, we calling around. People's parents calling it. It's just fucked up. Like, no, we thinking he's dead. Like, it's like,
don't know.
what's that movie with The Hangover? It's like that. Like, where's this nigga at?
Yeah.
Right? This nigga flew back home.
I thought he ended up in like Michigan or some shit.
No, he went home. He took a flight. He was too fucked up. Took a flight home. He had like 2 more days in Vegas. Like Vegas got his ass. Like, Vegas won that battle.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, that's how crazy limitless. Literally, you right, limitless.
And that's what Molly was going crazy.
We had Soulja Boy perform in the room, which is dope. The night before that, we had the Yin Yang Twins perform in the room. Yep. And I don't know if it was the night before that or before the Yin Yang Twins. We had like an all-you-can-drink at like club night at the club at the Ghost Bar. Nice. Right? So it was this epic. Then we had limos and if you had a wristband, you could bring her. It was like an epic Vegas trip.
It was wonderful.
Now imagine, here's what we always talked about. Imagine the people that we met, whether it be a bunch of chicks, which obviously there was 1,000 of those, or dudes because we let dudes up. We made their trip epic by just inviting them to that shit for free.
Absolutely.
Because that ain't free. Like you know, and we was just like, come on, turn up.
Absolutely.
That was such a vicious trip as far as the epicness.
Yeah.
But circling back around, I just don't give a fuck about none of that. No
Crazy, because you know what? I think one of the things I think is interesting about that, I was super proud of you for that trip.
For what?
For that whole thing, because at the time, it gave you something to
reach for.
You were searching. I'll say that. You were searching. But that was a structured, healthy thing that you were doing with your homies. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't terrible.
Well, you mean searching for like what I was trying to do? What I was gonna be good at?
Yeah.
I agree with that. I was so
you were knee deep in it. We had plenty of conversations before we even. That's why we had got so close in the first place. You know what I mean?
I think it still could have worked.
It's
to be honest, and that still got a name. There's a lot of niggas listening to this that's gonna be like, oh, limitless,
man,
like right?
That shit back.
Man, and we've had talk. Hey, we've had talk. But it's just like I said, we're all at different places.
I feel you.
You know what I'm saying? It's just mentally, not like financially. It'd probably be easier for us now.
Right.
But it's just like I don't even enjoy that fake baller shit because that's kind of what it was. We were charging $1,000 for you to come ball for the weekend. That's what that was. You could drink Vegas, whoever you want. You could be a baller, like, and it worked. You know, and in Vegas, that shit worked.
That's what it's supposed to be for.
That's what it's supposed to be for. I just know that that don't even impress me no more.
Right.
What impressed me is a genuine good time.
Exactly, but that's because you've probably done it. You've been in this
and right, I've done it too.
You know what I mean? And that's the thing about growth. Like, I want to say to people who've already grown, you know what I mean? Like, you got to understand where people are. People are still in this social bubble that you're in. You know what I'm saying? You were once that kid. You got to allow them to be that kid too. You know? Like, if you didn't experience, you probably felt like you would have missed out on some shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so it's a struggle. It's not a struggle. It's just kind of a process of trying to grow. That's why I love growing. You trying to figure out what's real and shit. But you realize that was a moment, and I love that part of it. Like it
was still vicious.
It's always gonna be a moment, and that's wonderful. But that's what it's supposed to be. That's what Vegas is for. See, that's the thing. Like people try to think that Vegas is an everyday thing. No, that is a Vegas thing. You know
no one can live that life. I mean, I guess some
people
people live. It's tough. It's tough though.
But that's the Hollywood shit. That's what I mean. Like you gotta be willing to. That means you are in it 24/7. Some people go there and do the Hollywood thing. When I say Hollywood, I just mean the Vegas, the LA's, the glitz and glamour of what we deem in America as like the glitz and glamour.
You mean like the show out?
Yeah, the show out type.
The show out.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So most Americans are gonna experience that on a temporary basis. They're gonna go fly in, fly out. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas type of mentality. But it's those who really committed to this shit that go to stay in Hollywood with it. You know what I mean? They stay in the Vegas. You know what I mean? So it's a life choice. It's a lifestyle, I should say, more so than anything.
And I think I used to try to think that I was living that lifestyle.
I think you were trying to test out if you wanted to live that lifestyle.
I always thought that balling was the thing to do.
Right.
Or to try to even act like and fake it was the thing to do. Just be that guy who's the one balling. Mm-hmm. And listen, who the fuck am I to say that ain't the way? But I'm personally, as a guy who tried to live that way and didn't, especially when you don't. It's even worse when you ain't balling. So Steve, my buddy Steve, we talked about like with people who get, in our opinion, people who get like big dumbass multi-million-dollar cribs. A lot of the time, are you really getting that for yourself, or are you getting that for your perception towards other people, or for their perception? Like I'm talking about like $1 trillion. You drive around a helicopter. I guess maybe not the helicopter. If we talked about that, that could be some practical in that to some degree. That's a stretch, but you know what I'm saying? Fucking helicopter, nigga, you out here living. But there's some practical to it because the idea to get to wherever quicker than an airplane could.
Yeah. I think I know where you're getting that. Go ahead.
All right. So what I'm trying to say is, I don't believe that lifestyle. When you get a big dumbass house like that, you kind of not doing it truly because you need a big dumbass house. Like most people, and you know this, and to you it might be so foreign because you just, from what I know, and which is crazy because your people's got nice shit. But when you left your people's nice shit, driving around nice cars, you went and got a studio. And this is just real talk. This is such a good thing. When my first thought at the time, it's different now, but at the time was, I don't know if I could live in a studio, right? And I bet you a lot of people feel that way.
A lot of people always feel like that way.
Right? But it's like, that's what's kind of dope about you, to me, or one of the bunch of things, is that you're like, it's not because you chose that, and it's like because you just don't need, like, what more do you need than that? Especially as a single man by yourself exploring, you're not in the house. Right. Like, why do you need that? Same thing with the hotel. Same thing with these fucking vicious Vegas villas. Like, why do you need that? Now, there's a part of me that says, wait, are you trying to ball out and impress girls and da-da-da-da? But there's another part of me that says, well, I'm with my boys, and that's why it was really fun. Right. Limitless was fun. Was it fun because of the things we did? Or because it was people and the things we did? So that's where I'm at now, and it's just crazy how you could change your perspective in literally a couple of years.
Yeah, I know.
Like how you thought last year. Like, did you know you was gonna be making like a dope album 3 years ago?
No, not even.
It wasn't even in your head.
Not even a year ago.
Like you had like your album was good.
Thank you, appreciate that. I just care about.
And I ain't even just saying that. Like, you know me, I don't lie about nothing. I remember when I first heard it.
Yeah, you were.
And I was sober.
Yeah, you were.
And I don't bullshit. I would hit you with the whatever.
You were hitting me with it.
So I'm like, this shit's good.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
And you wouldn't even own that. You didn't even know that was an idea. There wasn't even a thought in your brain 2 years ago. You said a year ago.
Right. Not even.
This shit's crazy, man.
Not even.
This life shit's crazy.
Yeah, but it kind of boils down to just, like I said, making shit seem simple. Like I had to kind of calm down too with shit I was trying to do, trying to figure out how can I fit in socially, as far as like I've always been good with myself, obviously, but socially as far as growing. So financial growth, it's so many things that we still are trying to grow with every day. You know what I mean? That society tells us we need to grow with. But for me, I had to kind of get to a place where it was just like mellow and like, okay, what do I just like? And then that shit just eventually turned. And I'm pretty sure the same thing for you. Like you always 100%. Told me, all I know is I'm a goofy
I'm goofy and I got energy.
And I got energy. And you had to start with those basics, and look what this turned into.
Right.
And look what it's going to turn into. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So this ain't even just it. So
it could be some whole new shit.
That's you
right.
going back to the basics, Chris. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's you being back to the basics, looking at yourself, like I say always, animalistically, and just being like, okay, what is Chris? Before any of the bullshit, what is Chris first, and then I'll project that shit out.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's kind of.
But as a person who totally believes that, I'm telling you, it took me some layers of digging to get to that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Learning.
Unlearning.
Unlearning. Yep. Unlearning.
Yeah.
Because I was like, fuck. And I'm still unlearning this trash to me personally. Again, who am I? It's just my personal thoughts. It's like, I'm fucking brain. I question everything.
Mm-hmm. But you still.
But I'm just going, I'm finally going towards what is it that I want to do in this existence? Because we talk about this every time, but it's kind of super important. And I'll talk about this every episode if I have to, because it's literally that important. This life shit is very minuscule. It's small, and it's not very long. And then how fast it's already about to be Valentine's Day. It was just New Year's like last week.
Right.
It was just New Year's.
Yeah.
January's gone. So it's like, and then the older you get, the faster they go. Do you agree with that statement? I feel like life's going faster per month. Like when I was 21, it didn't feel as fast as it does now. Like a year. Like now a year is like.
It's like, slow down, please.
It's like,
slow down.
fuck.
Stop.
So, which is scary to some
Yeah.
degree, but it's also like, all right, well,
Gotta
when you have that realization, like when you find out, yeah, it's coming.
Like fight or flight type of deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I like that. Yeah.
It's coming. It's coming to an end.
It's like it's coming, so you better get your shit.
Now, let me preface by saying, if you cool with coming home every night, smoke weed and play 2K and watch Netflix, if you are genuinely happy and you don't complain you're like, I'm good, then you're winning.
Oh yeah, you winning.
You're winning.
Super hard.
If you're doing whatever the fuck you want to do, you're winning.
You're not bothering anybody.
Right. That's what I'm saying. You right. But I do believe this. But if you go home and play 2K and watch Netflix and smoke weed, but then you tripping about where you ain't thinking where you're supposed to be, you're losing. And mind you, I'm saying that so comfortable, huh?
That's a personal loss.
Right. And I'm saying it so comfortably because I was that nigga. And I still do it sometimes. That's there's another level. But I like to come home, play a little 2K. You know what? Can I tell you about 2K for a second?
About 2K. I haven't played 2K in so long.
Nigga, they didn't got so vicious.
I remember as a kid, I could not remember a time where I would not play 2K. And I haven't played 2K in almost 10 years probably.
I feel like I played you like 7 years ago.
I feel like I never played you in 2K.
Maybe you was in the room when it was being played.
That's
I think.
Like,
yeah, maybe you didn't play
I had to stop.
Yeah, I don't think you actually played it.
Yeah.
But it's gotten real.
It's like PS2 maybe? PS3 maybe?
Oh yeah, that was like 8 PlayStations ago. That shit was a hot minute ago. No, but the games then got so realistic. And then it's crazy.
No, but go ahead.
No, that's what I'm saying. But
it?
it's the 2K. So I lost my player. Like I came home one day, I was like, I'm gonna smoke my weed and watch then I was like, fuck, I'll play the 2K. And you have like a creative player. And I don't know do you know nowadays they make the My Player? Yeah. Right. So that's like I bet you a lot of people don't know there's
Everybody, that's the only reason I played 2K was for
the My Player. That's like the best part.
Any other way, honestly.
And it's kind of dope, like because it's like you playing with 4 other human beings, and so you all controlling your guy, and it's kind of like real. I know it's gonna sound crazy because it's a video game. But to some degree, it's like real life because, so I was the point guard, right? Mm-hmm. My position on the game was the point guard. But then you playing with another guy, you playing with 4, so it's 5-on-5, like real basketball, and other motherfuckers who trust me to be the point guard to distribute the ball. I have to now manage the point guard responsibilities, and it became psychological real life because I'm playing with 4 other human beings that are playing this game for leisure and they want to enjoy it, right? Mm-hmm. Because and they also want to win. And everyone knows what they're good at and what they don't to themselves. So as the point guard, I had to make sure, wait a minute, he ain't touched the ball a little bit. Let me make sure he get the ball. Yeah. Oh, feed the big man. I know right? And it's which is crazy because it's a video game. That's why niggas is hooked on that shit because it's still human.
We are such my favorite animals.
It's so dope. But it was crazy because it's still like, even though it sucks because your body's not getting the exercise of actual basketball, but you're still playing actual basketball. You're just doing it virtually.
Yeah, it's just a different muscle.
Right. I can argue the more important one. Right? Your brain's probably more important than your actual physical muscle, right?
I wouldn't say actual, more important, but I would say it's balance.
Definitely.
I think there's a beauty in stimulating your mind just as much as you stimulate your body.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the mind is more vicious. I'd rather stimulate the mind more than my physical body.
You have both. If you don't have the mind, if you have a physical body.
I know, so. That too. No, so I get it.
Yeah.
But that's how crazy these games are. So it's like, so I have this guy that I worked up, got him up to a 90-something. Like, my guy's good. I got a team. Come home, shit's deleted. Mm-hmm. Like, gone. Now I live with myself. It ain't like somebody did it. Like, it just like it said file corrupted or some shit. Damn. And I just lost everything. It's like I played the game from scratch. And there was some money involved. I put money to get that nigga up like that, right? So it just sucks because I don't have that no more. And then but that's what I was doing for like my leisure time. But it was truly getting in the way of what I really wanted to do. Even though it was like a good wind down and I truly enjoyed it. And some people making money off that shit. Some people really making money off of playing games.
Money. Yeah.
It's a real thing.
Yeah.
So if that's really your passion, and only you know the truth to yourself. Because something I talked to something the other day. My brother Mark, his nephew, he's like, I'm trying to be a professional gamer. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, all right, that's actually an option nowadays. Like back in the day when we was like, oh, that'd be the fucking around. But no, that's an actual option. But are you going hard after that then? Because guess what? This nigga's going hard after that. Yeah. They quit their job now. Mm-hmm. How do they survive? Whatever, I don't know. But they're putting 13 hours a day on this game. Mm-hmm. You can't come home after work because you high and talking about I'm good at the game and think you about to be a professional and get paid on it. Right. You got to put real time in. So my point, going back to the circling back, niggas who think that if you're really going towards your dream, then I feel like you're allowed to say something. But if you're sitting there bullshitting, if you're sitting there playing 2K and bullshitting and you don't complain about it, then you're winning because you truly enjoy that. Mm-hmm. And you doing what. But for me, I didn't truly enjoy that. I liked it because it lulled my mind at the end of the night. It was cool. It was fun with my friends and shit. Lullaby. Right? Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And it kind of put me to sleep. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Literally. It was like reading it.
It's a grown man's lullaby.
Right, and it's super fun, but I didn't feel fulfilled in my existence. I didn't feel complete. So talking to whoever might be listening to this right now, you know if you bullshitting. You know if you going towards your shit. Like you know, but if you asking me what I know about you, I'm like, this nigga's going for it. Mm-hmm. He's following his shit. But I think a lot of people, and this whole podcast is about helping people, right? Yeah. You know if you bullshitting. Y'all know, hey, you know, because I be bullshitting and I'm going towards it. And I know I be bullshitting. Yeah. Are you going 100? And guess what? 100 might not even be enough. Some niggas, like we talked about the psychotic behavior. Sometimes you got to go 110. You got to like not get sleep. You got to sometimes wake up when you know you got 2 more hours to go to work. Mm-hmm. To really go after your shit. Mm-hmm. If you really about that life. And it's like, wow. And that's what I'm working on. Again, yeah. It's coming. It's coming.
I feel you, baby. I feel you.
All right, nigga. Hey, we at 112.
112.
Hey, what's the last time? Who would you say is the best? I don't want to take it too long. Who is the best 90s R&B artist?
Damn. Artist? I thought you were gonna say group. That's gonna make it a little easy,
probably. All right. How about this? All right, I'll make it easier.
And that one gonna be easy.
90s.
I'll say favorite. Can I say favorites or best? Well, best is always opinion. Favorites.
Yeah, it's the same shit to me, but yeah, okay. Because so let me make it easier to answer that question. 90s R&B. Who's your favorite
artist?
What's your favorite song, and who was the one who sang it? The best song, 90s R&B, and who was singing it? I think that would answer that question.
Best 90s R&B.
That's tough. I think I have a guy there's a lot of hits. But I think the guy that always comes to mind first for me is Tyrese. For me personally. There's a lot of songs, but.
Well, okay, that's fair. That's very fair. The guy I have to say, obviously, is R. Kelly then.
Ooh, R. Kelly's got some hits.
Like, that was my whole childhood. So, I mean,
R. Kelly's
there's nobody who beats R. Kelly to me.
And he actually hit different, like, decades and shit.
But in the 90s, though, like, there's just...
He had 2002, I feel like.
He's just a great songwriter and shit. But
and even his epic, even if he's been fucking up lately, even that's so epic.
No, apparently he's always been fucking up. The 90s.
Did you watch that shit?
So I just watched it. I'm a person that likes to watch it kind of after the whole
hoopla.
Yeah, and I just got to watch it. And my man's just a pedophile. My man's got problems, you know. He definitely does.
And like, so the choice, do I have to watch this shit? It's that serious?
He's that man. I really feel like he's that man. But
well, because I'm saying, so the only reason
it's crazy.
Well, the only reason I'm rebuttaling at all is for just the sake of argument.
Okay.
Because from what I've heard and know, the motherfucker's a piece of shit. From what I know.
He definitely likes younger girls.
But I do know that, and that's fact.
That's a fact.
That's facts.
Fact.
He likes very young ass children.
Yeah.
Now, but the only reason I'm bringing that up, the rebuttal at all, and again, I agree that he's a piece of shit, is I do know that documentaries, you can finagle them for any side of your argument.
Absolutely.
There's people that can make Trump seem dope. There's people that can make Trump seem like the Antichrist. There's people that can make Obama seem dope. There's people that can make Obama seem like the Antichrist. There's people that can make us seem dope. There's people that can make us seem like the Antichrist. Us.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, especially if you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And you know how human psychology works. You know what to say. You know. But you're saying, even with all that, no, this nigga's definitely out here. Based on the documentary. It felt...
Because I'm a person that's not very into, like, I'm very aware. I'm like, when I'm looking at a documentary, I always think in like production mode. So I'm not thinking about necessarily what's happening. I'm thinking about who's telling the story. You know what I'm saying?
So who was telling the story? Who was telling the story?
So it's people who are close to them, victims, security, family.
Also, like
all
niggas who know him.
Which, I mean, his ex-wife, all this type of shit. Which still can be a thing.
Yeah,
you
can still right. You can still
with that either. But I mean, at the end of the day, my man did marry Aaliyah.
Right. That's what I'm talking about. That's a fact.
Bro, you married Aaliyah.
And she was hella. How old was she?
Like I don't want to say exact. I think it was like 14, 15, something like that.
Now here's what I want to know: where were the parents?
I know.
No, take it.
No. Seriously. But it was crazy.
Was this
every time when you watch it,
I gotta watch it
every time. Like it was always a situation where, oh my God, we met R. Kelly and he's gonna give us a record contract or something like that, so the parents will trust him and trust it. Like, okay, but as parents in the black community, you gotta know the story of R. Kelly. I'm sorry.
Right. Absolutely.
Come on now, like you have to know this is going on to even put your daughter in a situation to be meeting him in a hotel or something like that. You know what I mean?
See, I feel like I didn't hear about that until I heard about it. I don't think that you grew up knowing that R. Kelly was on that. I don't think
what I'm saying is we've been hearing it. But he had a case.
No, I'm talking about back in Down Low. I didn't know he was on that back then, but I guess he was on that back then.
Well, what I'm saying is he married Aaliyah in the 90s, but it was also a different culture then. Like I think it was somebody recently who was on a podcast and they were saying like, bro, I grew up on the west side of Chicago and that was what people did. Like old dudes went and hung out at high schools picking up young girls. Like this, we always live within that culture, at least within our communities. Like the old nigga and the young girl, like that's kind of a thing, a pimp and a hoe type of thing.
Right.
So we've always been in that type of mindset, this pimp hoe type of shit with the old nigga and the young girl. So it wasn't anything that was really frowned upon until we started evolving, I should say, within these 90s, 2000s, 2010s, and so on. So we starting to realize the fuckery of it all. But he's doing literally what the culture was allowing this whole time, which is why he's been able to be a piece of shit this whole time.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I wonder if the social media part, like, would he have gotten to where he is now if social media was prevalent back then?
I think the culture of it was just different then, man.
But is social media part of the culture though? Because I feel like now, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I fuck up right now, social media gonna hear about it, and a lot more people will know. I feel like back in the 90s, you didn't have the reach to hear about as much shit as you could now. Because of social media. I feel like social media, like, again, like with Kobe, I found out in seconds.
Yeah,
seconds. Whereas I don't think you'd find out that he was on that kind of shit in seconds back then.
But see, the thing is, we've known kind of for at least 17 years or so. Like, or at least had.
Because of the Leah thing.
No,
I've always.
Leah was even in the 90s, so I'd say even more than that. And that was a legal document.
Yeah, how the fuck did they get married? How is that even physically
She lied
possible?
about her age on the actual marriage certificate and whatnot.
Is that on the show or the?
Yeah.
That's like some illegal.
Bodyguard was like he was the one who was the witness and everything like that.
Oh, so he. Oh, okay. So I gotta watch this shit.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Just I'm a R. Kelly fanatic actually.
Right,
I grew up on. You know.
Right, and he's still making. Now let me ask you this. Let me ask you this.
The artist.
This just getting a little bit long, but I gotta cut it soon. However, can you personally cut the art from the artist?
I'm still trying to figure that out.
That's a tough one. That's a great
like
question.
And that's not a universal thing. That's just me personally. I'm trying to figure that out for myself but what I'm noticing is, I'm not going to take it too long, but what I'm noticing is most of your favorite artists do fucked up shit.
Like of all kinds of art.
Yeah, of all kinds of art. And the first person, like I said, I think I mentioned before, was Picasso. Comes to mind to me where you have to, like, it's something. It seems like something has to be fucked up about you for you to be wonderful. Like, this nigga was a fucking womanizer, like crazy, like didn't give a fuck, like made a woman his muse and then just left and went to the next. But like breaking hearts the whole way, but creating a magnificent art. You know what I mean? Right. And it happens so many times with different artists or different creatives or whatever have you. They dedicate their lives to so much of something so hard, so where something else gets lost or something else is hidden. You know what I mean? Like even the Michael Jackson shit. You know, for him to be so great and so beyond this world musically, he had to not have a childhood, and that probably fucked him up. And where he's had situations where he has to be around children so much, to where he has to have sleeping beds and rumors or actual facts that he did shit. You know what I mean? Right. So even it's like so much of this whole. That's why I try to be careful in being like grounded and being animalistic about shit. First and foremost, don't let this hoopla really like strive, but know what you're striving for, because this shit can really fuck with you. Like, be careful about your soul. Be careful about your shit. You know what I mean? Be careful about your being, I should say.
Yeah, because it's delicate.
It's delicate, but strive for sure. It's just like, be aware.
You gotta find. Yeah, you gotta find that.
Be aware, because
well,
shit can hit you.
All right, nigga. Hey.
Oh yeah, we going.
Yeah, because we at 120. I think this might be the longest, so we gonna cut it. All right. We gotta cut it. And as always, cares done. Nigga.
Yeah.